What's up everyone, it's your boy Dak908 aka the Dig Dug himself, Monster Hunters and Monster Hunties. Welcome back. We are playing more Monster Hunter Generations gameplay, and today we are fighting the Akantor. Now the Akantor is not quite an Elder Dragon. He's still one heck of a monster to fight. A lot of people refer to him as an Elder Dragon. I do so as well. I'll throw him in the mix simply because, I mean, look at the guy. But he is not an Elder Dragon. He is technically a flying wyvern. His wings, very vestigial, if anything, very reminiscent to that of the Ukanlos, so much so that they actually christened the Akantor as Auntie, while the Ukanlos is christened as Uncle. Auntie and Uncle, Aunt and Uncle. You see where I'm getting this from, the A and then the U. Anyway, moving over, let's talk a little bit about what the guy can and cannot do, because he can do a lot. And you're going to need to bring your 100% A game to actually fight him quite well. Now, if you guys remember from our Ukanlos video, I did say that Ukanlos hits like 2 Mack trucks slapped together that is duct taped with like another Mack truck that can hit another Mack truck with 3 more Mack trucks on top of that Mack truck or something like that. I forget if actually that's exactly what I said, but I thought about something similar. The Akantor is relatively the same way. I will say fighting the Akantor is harder to do, simply because it has a means of lowering your defense by it using its tusk or its mouth to actually swipe at you. Whether it's confirmed hit or even a blocked hit, you will actually suffer from defense down. Defense down is exactly what it sounds like. Your defense goes down. And all of his exceedingly hard-hitting attacks are very, very close to being one-shot attacks. It's scary. It's actually a really scary thought. Like, I mean, normally I would have came through here with my buggery squad, aka the killer team, to actually destroy an Akantor, but I figured, yo, let's actually go and see what the Wild Wild West has to offer for your boy, yours truly. By the Wild Wild West, I mean randoms. And I will say this, shout out to the homies that's in here right now playing with me. They did a fantastic job actually fighting this guy. I was like, yo, blown away, because I'm using aerial lance. I bet you're wondering, like, yo, yeah, like right there, there's nothing for me to do. I was gonna take that L all day, and we did cart 2 guys right there, but we come out on top, no cards. We hold it together. It was lit. Anyway, aerial lance. I've never aerial lance before. This is technically my second ever aerial lance ever with this monster. I decided to give myself a huge challenge, because why not go out with a bang with the last technical non-subspecies, non-deviant monster that we recorded a video for in the game, Confetti, hurrah! So I was like, yo, let me go in with aerial, because the set actually has Volt on it, and I was like, yo, let's give it a shot. So I did. I'm not very good at aerial, I will admit. I am pretty sure everyone was expecting me to have like 10 or 15 more mounts, but apparently either I suck at mounting or Akantor has a very, very high resistance to the mounts. It is the latter, and also the former. It's 2 at the same time. Akantor, being the big and, you know, ferocious that he is, he actually has a huge resistance to practically everything. So mounting him is going to be really tough to do. Stunning him is kind of tough to do. Things like that, paralysis, they're all tough to do. What isn't necessarily tough to do, though, is you can actually use some dragon weapons, which, see, that's on my back right now, the Alatron Lance. Not the Gleam, because the Lance and the Gleam, the only difference is 4 dragon, that's it, maybe a little bit more white. And I was like, yo, I'm not going to kill myself fighting more Alatron to actually max out this weapon. So if you bring yourself some dragon and or thunder, you will be in perfectly good hands to fight this guy. Water in the greatest of pinches. If you have no thunder, if you have no dragon, you can bring water, but nothing else will suffice. Now, speaking of things that's sufficient and whatnot, let's talk about his armor. His armor and his weapons, mind you, they're actually self-sufficient. Blunt edge types, well, not blunt edge, but like bludgeoner sets and weapons. Now, his weapons are perfect for blunt. The skill blunt, you know, the one where it's like sharpness 1, but it's the exact opposite. It's like the lower your sharpness, the higher your attack or whatever kind of thing. You know what blunt is. Blunt on this guy is amazing. Why? If you decide to make his armor, both his standard armor and his rage, excuse me, rage. I say R and it's rage. His hyper, his relic, his R variant armor, they will both give you blunt, hearing, and fencing. So that's actually absolutely amazing for his armor, because for his weapons, because his weapons have 40 to 30% affinity on like all the weapons. If you decide to make any of the Akantor weapons, they have insane amounts of attack. I mean, like 250, 240, things like that. And they have they used to have way more green, but they still have quite a bit of green. Some don't have green until you sharpen +1 it, but it doesn't necessarily matter because you have blunt. So if you're going to be running this guy's armor, I totally recommend running his weapons as well. They have insanely high affinity, and they have green sharpness with an insanely high attack. They do not have an element, mind you, but if you're running blunt and you're about that blunt edge stuff, I mean, the set is perfect. Mind's Eye and blunt edge. The only way it can get better if it was like Mind's Eye, razor sharp, or blunt edge, or razor sharp and blunt edge. But Mind's Eye and blunt edge is just as good, right? Right. So both give you those if you're a blade master, but if you're not a blade master and you're actually a gunner, you know, bow gunner, light bow gun, heavy bow gun, bows, that kind of thing, his armor is actually still really good for you guys. I mean, like, I'm not too savvy when it comes to, you know, the gunning type of stuff, but it gives you precision, hearing, and pierce up. Now, I know pierce up is that stuff. Everyone uses pierce shot for a multitude of reasons. Some use pierce shot because it's actually really effective at fighting larger monsters like Akantor himself. Yukonlos, other elder dragons, guys who are like really big, because the multiple hits through the long bodies are gonna do a great amount of damage. So that's cool. You could totally run that. And these abilities are on his standard and his variant of armor. So if you're down for that life, if you like you some blunt, his weapons are great. If you like you some blunt as a skill, but maybe not his weapons, his armor is great. So his armor and weapons are both really, really good. High defense, no matter how you slice it, you're in good hands. So with that being said, let's take a quick step back and move back to when we were talking about what it takes to actually fight this guy. Now, Akantor, like I said before, has the ability to lower your defense by using his defense down like saliva, I guess you could say, because he'll use his mouth to swipe at you, bite you, attack you, whatever. And when you get hit with it, I want to say, don't quote me on this, I want to say when he's enraged is when it happens, because a couple of times I'll block it and I don't get hit with it, or maybe I'll block what I think is his mouth, but I'm actually, you know, blocking somewhere along his chin, excuse me, not chin, like his neck or something like that. I'm not totally sure, but stay away from the face. Don't get hit with the face. Don't get blocked, or don't block attacks from the face, because it might hit you with defense down. Defense down lowers your defense like practically by half, and you're susceptible to all sorts of extremely overpoweredly strong moves. Speaking of overpoweredly strong moves, we will talk about his big beam. He has a laser beam, not a laser beam, more like a dragon beam, a huge stream, if you will. I think it's actually called the Cyclone Stream or something like that, but it's a insanely long-range blast that does dragon. It's very powerful. If you take one to the face, if you're at full health and you have negative dragon resistance and you take one to the face, I want to say it's curtains for you, because I was at 621 defense, maxed out health and everything. I had like -5 or -10 dragon. I took it straight to the face and died instantly. Straight up, one shot. No defense down, nothing. Took it straight to the face and straight up died. So watch out for it if you're susceptible to that of dragon. It hits very hard. Granted though, it used to be that he wouldn't do it as often, but now he does a little bit more than I like to think so. What he would normally do is he would actually dig underground, because he has the ability to do so. He'll dig under the ground, travel to either the far reaches to the south or to north of the map, and then come up and then use his dragon breath. Now he'll use his dragon breath in commonplace of just like, you know, doing stuff. So I guess watch out for that. That's what actually got us killed, well, got me and another one of my people in here carded, if you will, early on in the fight. Watch for the dragon breath. It's very powerful. Now, something else that is actually a lot of people will say about this guy, he has a lot of tells to his attacks, which is true. His attacks are telegraphed on PA speakers, okay? You can totally see and hear these things coming from a mile away. The only problem is that when he does these attacks, his entire body, for the most part, seems to become the hitbox. So you have to, quite honestly, not be in the range of this guy whatsoever to avoid being hit. If you get ran over by him, that's actually 2 hits. For whatever reason, I don't understand, it's 2 hits. So if you block the first hit, if you roll through the first hit, you might get hit with a second hit, even though it's just like a one-run attack. Kind of like other monsters like the Raytheon and the Raptors, so how they would run you over and it's just a 1 attack. For this guy, it's 2. So, I mean, his huge body is also a huge issue. When he does anything with his tail, I want to say when he does anything with his tail, guys, the entire back of his body, for is almost as high as you can get it, becomes one massive hitbox. Okay, you're gonna have to you're gonna have to overcompensate where in which you need to block or evade to actually come away from these attacks unscathed. With that being said, the same thing applies to his fronts and whatnot. Wrapping up pretty much everything that he can do, for the most part. Totally watch everything that he does. You don't want to give him too much room, because when you give him too much room, he's going to use his big body to really force you to actually give him even more room, causing you to not actually attack him, because he does have quite a bit of health, and you want to put as much hands on this guy as quickly as you can. Now, I will say maybe aerial lance is probably the worst weapon style to come in here with, especially weapon akin to with and also on top of the weapon style. You could probably get away with striker. I still myself don't like lancing him too much. I totally like gun lancing him more, that's true, and great sorting, because yes, he moves slow, but the fact that when he doesn't attack, his entire body for the most part becomes a massive hitbox that is whatever it is he wants to do. Still, lancing is kind of hard to do. I mean, it's easier to lance an Akantor than it is, an uncle, if you will, than that of, the Akantor here. So I would totally recommend coming here with anything that allows you to move around a little bit quicker. A sword and shield, maybe not, I don't know. Long sword would be great, switch axe would be great, great sword would be great, a lot of other things would be great. I will absolutely emphatically recommend bow gun. Why? Because you can give him a lot of space with a heavy bow gun, and you can still slam him really hard. Because he moves slow and he's big and you can see everything he does, you have ample time to run away from most of his attacks. The only thing you have to worry about is his laser beam that can actually reach for the, I want to actually say, the complete length of this entire map. So, if you are a bowgun kind of guy, totally run here with the pure shot stuff, because it's definitely going to help you and your team out. If you're not, I totally recommend you guys come here with possibly a depth or whatever art hunting style that you're actually really comfortable with. Adept is a maybe kind of thing, because he's, again, with the fact that he's so large and his body is the entire hitbox, you can evade an attack with your Adept and probably still get hit running away. You know what I mean? So it's totally on you. Go in here with your absolute most comfortable weapon, or one that you believe is actually a better matchup to actually fight this guy with, and I will totally say you would be in much greater hands than just coming here swinging for no reason. Again though, remember, bring either Thunder or Dragon. Both of these are going to work exceptionally well. You should have you some Dragon by now, or at least some Thunder. You fought a multitude of Thunder monsters already, not so many Dragon monsters. I mean, there's not that many in the game as is. We fought Devil Joe, Alatron, and Gormagala. I think those are the only ones, but out of Laggy, Khezu, Rajang, raw metal weapons, you probably have a bit of Thunder somewhere hiding somewhere. So that being said, you know what it takes to bring, well, you know what it takes to actually fight this guy. Be careful of a lot of the things that he does. Give him a little bit of wide berth to actually look around and see what you can do when it comes to certain attacks and certain strats that you need to actually perform on top of him, because certain things that he does require you to actually give it a couple of eye wing stab before you actually go in for the kill. Remember, his weapons and his armor together combined as one, they have the power, sight beyond sights, and all that stuff. They're great together. That was a stupid Thundercats analogy, but what I'm trying to say is run his stuff together, because in conjunction with each other, because they're just made for each other, honestly. Apart from the fact that they're actually made for each other, because you kind of wear a monster with the, yeah. Armor's incredibly good for that of Blunt. His weapons are great for Blunt as well. One thing I should mention before I leave out of here, because I'm pretty sure a lot of people are like, yo, Deck forgot to mention this. His R sets, his second set, his Rage set, his Relic set, whatever you want to call it, I believe the head alone has 8 points into fencing. So if you're really big into mixed sets and you want Mind's Eye, yo, grab an Akantor head. It gives you directly damn near fencing. 8 points into fencing in one piece of gear. That's insane. Also, his R variant armor has, I believe, 4 slots. So if you want to wear the full thing for no reason and then maybe gem in something for free, you totally can, because the standard armor actually has no slots at all. But with that being said, everyone, it's been your boy Dak908, aka the Dig Dug himself. That's pretty much all I have to tell you guys in terms of the Akantor. Hopefully you found this video relatively helpful. If you did not, let me know what I did wrong, and we could possibly, maybe in the future, go over a better video on how to actually fight this guy if need be. But with that being said, for those of you who've been watching my videos since I started this particular series on all the monsters and that of Monster Hunter Generations, the next monsters that we'll be fighting will be, for the sake of me trying to figure out something to do with the Deviants, we will go over the Savage Devil Joe and the Furious Rajang. So that way it gives myself a little bit more time to actually figure out what I want to do when it comes to explaining to you guys what it takes to actually fight the Deviants. Take care.